Welcome back to Trading 360. I'm Nicole Petalides. We are live on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. It's time for the big three. Right now, the Dow's down just 108. Big difference than this morning. 3 stocks, 3 charts, 3 trades for the big three. And Rick Ducat is here to take us through the charts, here to take us through the trades. Shorr, Director of Trader Education, Prosper Trading Academy. Great to see you both. Mike, what'd you make of the action that we saw this morning? Did you think it was overdone when you saw that sell-off? I mean, hindsight's 20/20, but did you think maybe it was overdone and then that was a buying opportunity?
We were talking all night, everybody here at Prosper, that it was time to get out your wish list. I thought that we might get a little bit more of a push to the downside, but ultimately it was like, get everything that you want to buy and get it out and let's buy those. And that's proven to be, you know, who knows what's going to happen over the next couple days, but this, and I keep going back to the fact that this is a buy the dip. Until we're wrong, buy the dip.
All right, buy the dip. Yeah, and look, we were hearing that this morning too. Overall, so let me tell you, you have some names that you're watching here, and some of them, I mean, I can't wait to get to IBM, but let's start with eBay. Tell me why eBay is one you're watching closely today.
Well, it's on, it's looking, it's not quite there yet, but I mean, it's looking to break out. Anything that's going on in the general market is really, you know, so it is not going to affect this. I think that people might be looking for bargains, and I think eBay is one of those places that you can go for that. And technically, which is where I focus more on, that's sussing out there.
All right, let's see what Rick Ducat has to say about the charts, please. Rick.
Sure. Primed for a breakout. Yeah, I can see that, because when we look at this chart, we can see that we had a period, January 8th, where we had a significant breakout to the upside beyond that previous set of highs that we had in October of last year. So we had a notable breakout. We had a new high close. We had new intraday highs, etc. And then a bit of a retreat that took us back down to that shaded area on the chart, that volume node near about 64. So we held support at our yellow 21 and orange 63-day exponential moving averages. Now we're getting a bit of a bounce once again here, stalling out a little bit near our blue yearly linear regression line, our line of best fit, the idea of fair value somewhat. But just notice we've seen higher lows progressively here. We broke above our point of control. We're above our moving averages. RSI is more of a bullish lean right now as well, but look for an accompanying breakout between price and RSI. The mark to beat is 71.52 to the upside. Those old highs, the +1 standard deviation channel right now would come in at like 74.20. To the downside, volume node, orange 63-day EMA trend line, all near about 63.64. So, Nicole.
Okay, thank you for that. Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I just think that we get a move, and earnings are a little bit farther off, but yeah, so I'm not playing a huge breakout here. I'm playing a calendar going into earnings. I think that it's a little bit depressed for really no reason, so I'm looking for that grind up.
How about, you know, some of those TikTok, the phones with the TikTok app on it were for sale secondhand, right, on eBay. So it's been in the news of late, hit a high of the 71. And this morning, Wells Fargo did raise the price target to 61 from 59, maintaining the equal weight. That's below where it is today. So we'll continue to watch that. What about FTAI Aviation? Tell me a little about that story.
Yeah, I wish I knew more about the backstory. And this is a purely technical. They're dealing with short-term aviation, and really it just showed up on one of my scans. And I'm looking at this, and I was like, yeah, there's some room to the upside here. I'm not a fundamental trader. I don't try to go against the rooms of stock analysts out there, but I do believe that everything that these stock analysts come out with in their different rooms synthesizes to what is known about this. And I thought it would break out, and it is breaking out, even on a day like today where we've seen some really kind of crazy, I don't want to call it crazy, some dynamic activity in the market, and yet this continues to go up. And so again, I like, earnings aren't until the 26th of this month, so I do like that to get back into that kind of trading range between 122 and let's call it 150. I like that.
Okay, so he's watching these levels. When we think about FTAI, your thoughts here, Rick Ducat, on the charts, on the technicals, please.
Well, I guess for perspective, we're up still 108% off of those lows. And it looks to me, just from a cursory glance at the news headlines, I am certainly not a fundamental trader as well. It looks like there was a big short report around the mid-January months here. And you can see that kind of coincides with shortly before we had those intraday highs near 181. We made our way above the previous highs on an intraday basis, but we did not make a higher close. So it seemed perhaps that it was primed for some kind of push downward one way or the other based on the lack of appetite for the bulls to keep buying at these elevated levels here. We had a big give back. There's forgive me for all the highlighted areas here, but there's just so many distinct volume nodes to cover here. The closest ones are probably around 113. We've got our point of control near 130. There's one near 104 and 94 as well. So I know that's a lot of numbers here, but that's just what I see here. There's a lot of important levels. We're finding ourselves today at the purple 252-day exponential moving average. We are getting very close to filling the gap that formed from January 21st, I believe, or 17th, excuse me. And then we've got that volume node just up ahead. So resistance near 115 and 130, support near like 92 and 80 or so, Nicole.
Yeah, I just can't get over this chart, how it went from 181 down to 86 bucks. And, and you are seeing like some of the analysts, RBC and Stifel, with buy ratings and price targets. I mean, one's at $100, one's at a 160 target, it's at 108, certainly coming back from those lows, but what a chart that was. Final thoughts on this, Mike?
Yeah, I was just looking at that breakout at 104, well, technically 46. But 104 half, and it just takes off from there. And so I think that we have a decent shot going into earnings of getting back into that kind of no man's land of, let's just wait for earnings, but we don't have to play this for earnings. And so I like that upward momentum. I don't think that it's going to go make new 52-week highs or anything like that. I'm not playing it to be that way. This is a trade, not an investment, but we definitely broke out. Look at where all that resistance was over the last 2 weeks, and we just blew right through this in a market where we're down. So it gives me an opportunity to play this back into the range.
Yeah. So everybody saw IBM, and we look at the end of January 30th, I think it was up over 12%. It had its best day since the dot-com era. The Evercore ISI analyst said Big Blue is so back. There's a lot of excitement surrounding IBM after its earnings report. So I'm looking at it here. IBM's at 257, one-year chart up 40%, but certainly over just a short period of time, that big gap up on the earnings. Mike, some of your thoughts here.
One of the quietest names that we've talked about over the last 2 years. I mean, just look at it. It's been fantastic. And so we get this gap up, and in general, I've been looking for a reason to get into IBM. And now that we have earnings behind us, I was trying it and the market didn't cooperate. I was looking for a gap entry at the bottom after earnings, which was, let's just call it 248. We can argue about the sense inside that. But 248, that seems to be the floor. And so I was looking for a little bit more of a pullback. I thought that I would get that this morning, and it really didn't. And the names that in going back to, what we were talking about, the market in general, the names that you want didn't react the way that the market did. I mean, even when we were at our lows, things like Meta and IBM were still up on the day. So I don't think that we're going to get that gap bar filled down to 248. But if we do, I'm a buyer there.
Okay, understood. Yeah. Let's see what Rick Ducat has to say about the charts. Understood. By the way, I was looking at a name like Tesla, for example. That has taken a turn, and that's down 4.7%.
Yeah, I know.
Some of your thoughts here on IBM.
Different story, though.
Yeah, totally different story.
Boy, what a turnaround. You count a stock out sometimes, it just comes roaring back. And IBM never really did that bad. It just seemed like perhaps a bit of a consolidation phase for this major tech company here. And when we look at this one, though, you can see that what's interesting to me is that we had this double top type pattern near 237 or so, that green line there, roughly around that area. Then we had, once again, a series of higher lows, this ascending triangle type pattern of resistance coupled with a upward sloping trend line. And it's not really exactly an ascending trend line. I'm just kind of describing the thought process of increasingly eager buyers met with a consistent horizontal level that then gets overwhelmed and you get the big breakout. That's why we look for these breakouts or these resistance and support levels in general, because this is the hope that you catch a big move like this. Now look at the price action that we're seeing here during the past couple days. On pace today for a bullish engulfing candle after we formed a Harami candle during the last session. So mixed signals, kind of rapid fire back and forth with our candles here. But the thing that I really look for looking at this, bull flag, bull pennant type pattern here. You have the huge gap up based on some kind of fundamental story. You have a brief period of consolidation, and then you have the bulls regroup and take out those old highs once again for the next push to the upside. That's the kind of what many people probably are looking for in this situation. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying that's something people look out for. 273 is the +2 standard deviation channel. Potential resistance there. Support at those old highs near 237, Nicole.
Okay. Thank you, Rick Ducat. Great charts today. Final thoughts, Mike Shorr.
Yeah, I think we're looking at the same charts, and so I'm with you. And like I said, this is the quietest name, and I probably should be playing it more. Right now, where it is right now, it's a no trade for me. But if we get that pullback to 248, I like it.
Okay, thank you so much. Mike Shorr, Rick Ducat, the big three. Today we looked at eBay, FTAI, and IBM.